welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be my update for Project 10 uses. So this is my project where I focus solely on my single shadow collection. Like maybe some of us, or maybe just me, I have a very extensive single shadow collection that just doesn't get a lot of love from me because I'm usually reaching for palettes. It's just quicker, it's easier. So this way I can kind of roll in some singles, give them some love, see if I still like them, if I need to declutter them or not. So I'll be going over all the colors that I randomly chose for the last month, telling you my progress on them, if I hit my 10 uses or not, and then randomly rolling in some new shades. So if that sounds good to you, if you like project panning videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around, but with all that, let's just get into my update. All right, hopefully I don't have to do this for every single one of my videos and it will kind of just catch on, but clearly I am not where I normally film. For the next couple of months, it's just gonna be a little bit sporadic on where I'm filming. Right now, I'm in an Airbnb in Cyprus. I will probably be doing a lot of traveling for the next couple of months. So, you know, the show must go on. I still brought all my things. I still pre-planned everything. So that way I can still do my updates, but the background might change. And hopefully that's okay with you and you can stick through this with me together. But I'm gonna still talk about my updates. I'm still using my Project Pan items. So let's just get started. I bring in 5 shadows. So 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, and then 1 single potted, like a Supershock from my collection, because I do still have a lot of single potted shadows. So let me just get started. This is what my Colorstory looked like for last month, and then here was my single, like I said, a Supershock. But I actually rolled all of these in except for this and this Gimme Glow here. So let me go over what's been in the longest. Like I said, it was this Give Me Glow, and this is the shade Not You Next. So my goal for all of these is 10 uses. It was a little bit different. Last month, I finally changed it to hopefully fit my panning a little bit better and just do 10 flat uses. So I've had this in before this month, I had it in for 4 months already, and I had 7 total uses. And then this month, I finally used it the 3 extra times I needed for 10 total uses. Let me swatch this out for you. It is a very foiled metallic cranberry shade. It is just very pigmented. And, you know, I am gonna declutter this. Not to just start off with a declutter, but it was a struggle to even get the 3 uses. There's just no way that I will feasibly even be able to finish this shadow, nor do I want to. The way that I really use this most of the time was layering it and putting something on top of it, and I just don't think that that's worth keeping a shadow around for. I would like to kind of curate my single collection. That's the point of doing this project, to have the singles that I know and love and reach for, and not just like look at all my singles and be like, where do I even start? Do I still like this? Do I not like this? So this is one I just don't think I need to have in my collection anymore. So I am gonna declutter it. Sometimes I go through phases, you know, where I want to declutter more than others, and right now I'm just in a decluttering phase. So this one is going to go. I did hit my 10 uses on it, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy to have 1 less single shadow in my collection. Now the next one that's been in here the longest is actually my Supershock. So we're gonna jump a little bit. This is the Supershock in Social Baby, Social BB. It came in the Lavish collection. It's kind of like a cool tone blue purple. To me, it's not very lavender-ish. Let me swatch it out for you. Very different from that Not You Next. Now, I've had this in 2 total months. So the first month I used it 3 times, and then this month I actually used it 8 times for a total of 11 uses. So I did meet my goal on this. Now, this was one, funnily enough, so I put painter's tape on the back of my shadows. like this. That's how I keep track of my progress. And every month, if the shadow remains, I actually write it down in my little Project Pan book, which I don't have next to me, and then I replace the tape. And I do that so that way I kind of reach for it a little bit more naturally, and I don't remember the amount of uses I have. So this is like the perfect example of that, because I was, getting ready to film this video a week ago. Not really getting ready, but I was looking at my progress like, okay, is there anything I only need like 2 or 3 more uses on that I can kind of just hit so I can roll it out when I film my update? And I was at 5 uses for this, and I was like, man, I'd have to use this every single day in order to roll it out. I really want to have a complete refresh. I had forgotten that I already had 1 month of use on this, so I used it 8 times, and I was like, it is what it is. I couldn't hit my 10 uses. It'll roll in for another month. And then when I was going back through my Project Pan to kind of just update my progress, write down what I used and everything, I saw that I'd actually had this in for 2 months and had 3 uses. So I hit 11 uses on it, and this is rolling out. The point of that story was just, there's a reason why I don't keep the total tallies on the back, because it helps me reach for it more and maybe not remember what I've used and reach for it maybe a little bit more naturally. So this is also rolling out. Very happy about that. And then after that, these 3 shades were all rolled in last month. So let me just go over them. I'm gonna go over the other shimmer, I think, and then we'll do the mattes. So this is Give Me Glow Halo. I have a lot of Give Me Glow single shadows as well as Sydney Grace. So that's why, you're just seeing a lot of Give Me Glow this month. That's just what was rolled in. So this is Halo, and it is kind of a very pale gold yellow kind of shade. Here's what it looks like. I didn't hate this shade, but I didn't love it. I thought this was going to be a really easy shade to use, and actually this is what I would put on top of this shade a lot, and it really transformed it. Let me actually just kind of show you what that looks like so you can see, because it turned this cranberry shade into this really pretty peach, and it almost made me want to keep the cranberry shade, the Not You Next. Like, it turned into this really pretty cranberry, peachy, gold kind of shade that was really pretty on the lid. I actually really enjoyed it, but I just don't think it's worth, like, I'd rather just buy a shade like this than keep this. Remember, I have to layer it, how I like to layer it, etc. So that's why I ultimately decided to declutter that shade. I'm sure I have a peach shade in my collection anyways. Back to this though, like, I thought this was gonna be like a good inner corner shade. I'm struggling with this one because I'm finding it like very thick. It is a foiled pressed pigment, and in this type of shade, I kind of just want something that's a little bit thinner, a little bit more iridescent, and it wasn't giving me that. This is not like an iridescent shade that I love, and quite honestly, I think that I'm gonna declutter it as well. Like I said, I go through phases where like I have a hard time decluttering, and then sometimes I'm just like, get rid of all of it. If it's not an A++++, I don't want it, and I'm kind of in that mood right now. Like, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. It's like an 8 out of 10. So I'm gonna find a new home for this one, I think. And while I'm at it, I forgot to like talk about this one. I was too busy talking about my story behind getting my uses, but I'm also gonna declutter this one. So this was not bad. I actually found a way to use it. The way that I liked to use it is using a, what did I use with? I used a Sonia G brush, so a natural hair brush that was a little bit thicker, and I would kind of use it as a base and then put shadows on top. But realistically, like the Supershocks, I like to use as toppers. This is not topper material, and I don't want to use it like full on straight. When I used the brush, it made it a little bit lighter. I would also use it to like darken up the outer corner, which was really pretty. I liked using it that way. But again, like if I'm just like being realistic with myself, I'm not gonna go into my drawer of single shadows and pull this out to use as an outer corner deepening up shade. I'm just not going to. So I am decluttering 3 out of 3 that we've talked about so far, but the rest of them I'm keeping. So just know that if decluttering bothers you. Sometimes, you know, some people like to declutter, some people don't. But I am going to declutter those 3. I'm going to find good homes for them, people who will love them more than I do and will actually get use out of them and love them. Now let's go into the mattes. So both of these were Give Me Glows. The first one is Cream Please. I really liked this shade. Yes, it's like a cream. Yes, it's kind of boring. But when you like compare creams, this is like a bone colored cream. It has like a slight coolness to it. And I thought, you know, I would use this as a lid setting shade. I would use it to like kind of blend out the edges a little bit. What I actually use this the most for is doing all matte looks and using this like on the inner 2/3 of my lid. I loved it that way. It was the perfect just cream for that. It wasn't too stark of a cream. And I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just the undertone of this shade that made it really special in that regard of being like a matte all over lid shade. I quite liked it. This is for sure gonna stay. And I think this is a shade that I could see myself going into my collection and pulling to use this for a very specific look. So that's the kind of shadows like I want to keep in my collection. I really, really liked this. It's just, it's not so stark. You can kind of see like it has this like milkiness to this. So yeah, really like this. Like I said, it's the shade Cream Please. Now, as far as my usage for Cream Please, I used it 12 times, actually 13, because I used it today in my eye look. I'm actually wearing the What's Up Beauty Geodes palette, but I incorporated some of these shades. I used Halo on my inner corner. I did use Cream Please kind of to blend out some of the shadows and kind of like a little bit higher just to kind of used it. And then I used the last matte, which is Give Me Glow and No Filter. I used that on my lids. I kind of use this as a liner. But let's talk about this last shade. So this is kind of like a very cool plummy purple. And it sucked because these 2 shades like really didn't go together, but I wanted to use them together a lot. I used this 11 times, including today. So I also met my goal. We're gonna have a complete refresh today, which is awesome. I mean, I don't think that'll happen every month. 10 uses is like just enough where if I really, really focus, I can get all 10 uses out of them, especially if I'm using them in conjunction with each other. But it is like, I wanna use other stuff in my collection from Shop My Stash, etc. So I don't think I'll have complete rollouts and roll-ins every single month, but this month I do, which I'm really happy about. I really liked this shade. I use this on the outer corner a lot. I use this to blend out my liner. So I've been doing this because I have a black liner in my Project Pan, which my Project Pan update should be coming on Thursday. I'll use like black eyeliner in the corner a little, and then I'll take a shade like this with a kind of flat definer brush, and I'll kind of just use the shadow to smudge out the black so it's a little bit less harsh. So I really liked using it as that. This is a very pigmented swatch, but it actually builds up quite nicely. It doesn't start with like this full-on stark pigment. So I really liked it. I thought it was very easy to work with. Give Me Glow can be super, super pigmented, so it was nice to have a shadow that didn't start like that I could have as like more of a subtle purple if I wanted, or I could really build it up. So those were my 5 shades. Like I said, 3 are being decluttered. These 2 are gonna go back in my collection, and we're gonna roll in 5 new shades, which is super exciting. 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, and a single shadow. So let's do that. Now, obviously, I did not bring my entire single shadow collection with me out of country, so I did kind of pre-plan this video. I hope you're not too upset, but I basically went on my Tiny Decisions app and I rolled the shadows. I rolled all 5 of them just in case, and then I brought those with me and just figured I wouldn't use them. I'd set them aside and talk about them when I filmed my update. So I'm gonna pop up my screen recording of just rolling these shadows. Honestly, I kind of forgot about them. I haven't swatched them, I haven't done anything, so it'll kind of be a refresh for both of us, and we're gonna figure out what those shades are. I think first I started with my matte shadows, so let me just roll here. And the first one that came up is Perfect Storm from Sydney Grace. Like I said, I have a lot of Sydney Grace shadows, so we'll pull that one. And then I need a second one, which is going to be Cream Please. Okay, that was one. That's right, that I already pulled that one. I just had that one, so I rolled again. I got Retro Beige, which I had before Cream Please, so I'm rolling again. And I got That's So Taupe from Gimme Glow. So we're doing That's So Taupe from Gimme Glow, and then whatever that first one was from Sydney Grace, but I pulled it so I'll remember in just a second. All right, let's do shimmer shadows now. So I'm gonna roll for my 2 shimmers. And the first one that I got, I mean, I'm just doing this straight so you don't think that I'm lying to you, but I pulled Halo from Gimme Glow, which was the one that we just rolled out. So I rolled again and got Lorelei, Shine by SD. So we're gonna pull that one, and then the second one is going to be Always Yours from Sydney Grace. So those are gonna be the 2 shimmers. And then lastly, we're gonna pull the single shadows. So let's see which one I pull. I already know, but you're gonna find out. And it is Epiphany from Artist Couture. So I'm gonna grab those shadows and we're gonna swatch them out. I'm gonna show you what my new Colorstory looks like. All right, I opened up my palette here and then I quickly remembered that it was mostly blues. So let's just talk about them. The first one that I pulled, the matte, is Perfect Storm from Sydney Grace, kind of like this baby blue. I am surprised that I would even purchase a shade like this, but this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes I just go on benders and purchase. So here is Perfect Storm from Sydney Grace. You know, it's summery. It's gonna be tough for me to get my 10 uses out of this, I'll tell you that much. The second matte is Gimme Glow That's So Taupe. Doesn't really look taupe, but maybe it's kind of like a cool tone brown. At least this should be like an easier shade for me, something that I can just incorporate into a lot of looks. It is kind of like a cool tone brown, but I don't know if I would consider that taupe, but that's okay. Gimme Glow kind of does that sometimes. Like Retro Beige was not really a beige. It was kind of like this army green color. So I don't know, it is what it is. And then I pulled a Shine by SD. Now I pulled the shade Lorelei, which came from a palette. It came from the palette that was a collaboration with M. Jones and some numbers and Bizarre Volta, something like that. I'll put it up on the screen because I can't remember. And the pans weren't magnetic, so I like ripped it out. I ripped it out because I didn't want to bring the whole palette. Honestly, I was afraid that it would break if I brought that whole palette. So I'm gonna have to like figure out how to take this glue off. It does stick in my magnetic palette, but the palette itself wasn't magnetic. These are beautiful, beautiful shimmers, that whole palette. And I put any palette that is an all shimmer palette, like it was 6 shadows of all special shades, or like my Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. I put that in as my singles because that's just what I would use it for. I don't keep them with my palettes, but here's what that shade looks like. And surprisingly, it's gonna go perfect with that blue. This is gonna help me use that blue for sure because this just has such a pretty flip to it. And then I could even incorporate that brown if I just use it kind of lightly. This has like a blue to gold flip throughout it. It is stunning. I want to buy more singles from Shine by SD. They are just so beautiful. And then the last shimmer that I have is Always Yours from Sydney Grace, kind of the odd one out. But I do love purple, so I don't think this will be too tough to use. And this is a little bit different from the Gimme Glow that I had last month. Like this has more of like a cool tone true purple, where this has more red, like more of a cranberry. So this is the kind of purple that I just appreciate and love more than this kind. This was just like really, really bright on the lids without having like a shiftiness or something special to it. It was just too foiled and metallic. I think I'll really enjoy this one. So those are all the single shadows that were like in Z palettes by itself. And then the last one, this I haven't even swatched yet. This was brand new in my collection. I haven't opened it. This is Artist Couture Epiphany, and I believe this is like a loose shadow. I think I bought this like during Black Friday or something like that, and then it sat in my drawer of shame. I even include those in my wheel just to get use out of them. But yeah, like this is not even opened yet. So we're gonna open this and swatch it. It looks to be like a really pretty pink. How do I want to do this? It looks kind of chunky. I remember everyone used to talk about these, especially Kathleen Lights. Let's see, this looks super chunky. All right, I don't know how we're gonna feel about this. Okay, it blends out. It just like, when you pour it in the cap, it comes out like specks. I don't know if that's picking up. Like it comes out like actual glitter, but then it does smooth out when you put it on your arm, at least. And it's definitely like a really pretty topper shade. So we'll see how I can use this one. Maybe I can use it on top of this purple to just give it more dimension, or even like maybe just a one and done shimmer shadow. I'm not sure yet, but 10 uses on all of these. The blue might be tough, even though I kind of got a give me with a special coordinating shimmer and matte with the blue. I think the blue will still be tough for me to use 10 times this entire month, but I'm gonna try my best. I do think I'll have the brown rolled out by next month, and maybe the two purples, like the pinky purple from Artist Couture and the Sydney Grace. That's gonna be at least like my goal, is to get 3 of those out. If I could get a complete rollout again, I would love that. That would make me really happy, but if I could get the 3, I would settle for that. So that is my update for my Project 10 uses. Here's just a side-by-side if you wanna see the old Colorstory compared to the new one. Really happy with my progress so far. Like, I've been enjoying this project a lot and finding out what I like and don't like in my single shadow collection. It's definitely just been nice to get some things out and find homes for things that maybe I won't use as much. I know some people who will really enjoy these shadows, who can give them more love than I do. So let me know down below if you're doing any kind of eyeshadow project pan. I love to follow along with other panners, give them support, but this is where I'm gonna leave you guys. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.